Hello friends, it's Kristie Marcotte. I received another fun box of goodies from scrapbook.com. I thought I would show you everything I received. Most products are available now. Some are in the coming soon section on scrapbook.com's website. You can sign up to be notified as soon as those items are in stock. When I'm done showing the new products, I do have a couple of cute Halloween cards to share with you. I'll start off by showing you the limited edition mint colored Magic Matte, beautiful soft green color, and it does match their mint tape, which is really fun. Scrapbook.com has been releasing limited edition colors of their Magic Matte. Their previous color was pink, and there are still some available. Once they sell out, that's it, there won't be any more. So if you are interested in the mint or pink Magic Mattes, I would suggest grabbing those now before they sell out. Next up are some new shaker domes. There are 3 different shapes. I'll open up one of the packages so you can see what's included. This first shape is an arch. There's also the heart and circle. Each pack includes 5 pieces. So it's a clear dome. These are perfect for making shaker cards since there's plenty of space to add different gems and shaker bits. And these are all self-adhesive. You simply remove the release paper. And the arch size shaker dome coordinates perfectly with scrapbook.com's arched snow globe die set. And I will link that in the description box if you want to check it out. The next product is a new size of scrapbook.com's GripMate. They have the larger size, which fits perfectly in a regular size MISTI. This new mini size fits perfectly in the mini MISTI. The GripMate is made from high quality photopolymer material, so it's basically just like a nice quality stamp. It's protected with a front and back cover. And the GripMate is super sticky. It has this nice tacky surface. It does have the scrapbook.com logo etched all over it, but it will not add that to your project since it's etched on the inside. So you can add this inside your mini MISTI or you can use it separately. It's perfect for stamping, stenciling, since it'll hold everything in place very securely. And you can reuse this again and again. If the surface loses its tackiness, you simply wash it with soap and water. And here's a comparison with the original size and the mini GripMate. Next up is a new pattern paper collection. Super excited about this one. It's called Watercolor. It's available in both 6x8 and A2 size. There are 5 sheets of each pattern, and it's a nice heavy weight at 230 GSM. I'll open up both paper pads so you can see the difference between the 2 sizes. One side has a softer color, the other side is a little bit darker, and it includes a nice rainbow of colors. I love scrapbook.com's ombre collection. But I think the watercolor may now be my favorite. Not sure, I'll probably use both of them all the time. This collection is perfect as backgrounds for your cards or project, also good for die cutting, and I will be using it for both of my cards later on in the video. So now here's the back side. You can see it's a little bit darker than the opposite side. Still beautiful colors, a nice range from dark grays, blues, greens, yellows, reds, and a little bit of pink. If you look closely, you can see the design is exactly the same for each color. It's just different by a different color. So there's the new watercolor paper pad. I would suggest grabbing a couple of those. Next up is a stamp and coordinating die set. This one's called Bright Celebrations. It's a really cute set. You can create a variety of different images, including a gumball machine. There's a balloon, sunshine, disco ball, and a fortune teller's crystal ball. Plus lots of really fun sentiments. There's even the cute face to add to the sunshine. And with the die set, there is a die that goes around most of the sentiments. I grabbed the Circles Shaker Dome. I'm not sure if it works with this set. It seems really close, so I may try that on a card later on. Next up are some new add-ons for Scrapbook.com's treat boxes. I may have shown these in a previous video, but they are now available if you're interested. So there's a Halloween, spring, and summer. And if you haven't seen the treat boxes yet, I will link the video I did earlier at the end of this video. Here's one using the original treat box, and you will need that set. These are simply add-ons, but you could also use the add-on sets on their own, at least many of the pieces. With Halloween coming up, the Halloween set is perfect right now, but the spring and summer, you could use them throughout the year. The next die set is a sentiment set called Cheers Banner. It includes the individual letters for the words cheer and you, and then the word to is connected together. And you can either use them all together as one sentiment, or they have the individual pieces, so you can lay them out however you want. Plus there's the two different banners. The next three die sets are all Halloween themed, and they are available now. We have Mystic Boo, Hey Sugar, and Spiderwebs. And the Spiderwebs is one die, it's A2 size. I do have a video on Scrapbook.com's channel using the Hey Sugar die set. Here's one of the cards I made. It's super cute with a jack-o'-lantern and lots of yummy candies. The cards I'll be making in today's video feature the other two die sets, Mystic Boo and the Spiderweb A2 Card Die. Scrapbook.com released several other A2 card dies. This first one is Stitched Triangles. Now this is not one piece, they are 4 separate triangles. And I did use this set on the Halloween card with the jack-o'-lantern and candies. The next die is called Stitch Diagonal Block, and I do have a blog post featuring several cards I made using this die along with the mini circle sentiment set number 2. And I'll try to remember to add a link to that blog post in the description box below. Next up is Large Honeycomb. I haven't used this one yet, but I love the design. Then we have Stitched Scallop Block Frame. I think this would be super cute with some small images. And the last A2 die is Multi-Label. Lots of great new designs. There are also several new nested shape dies. I love using shape dies, and you can never have too many sets. The first one is Nested Elegant Circle. You can see on the back all the different sizes. Then there's Nested Notched Arch. Arch dies are always fun, and I love the unique notched corners. Then we have Nested Morocco. 5 dies in that set. Next is Nested Vintage Classic. And then the final one, Nested Vintage Label. So lots of really fun and unique shapes, and I believe all 5 of these sets are currently available. Next up are some large number and shape dies. They're the bold numbers and bold letters. They do come as 4 different sets. So the first one is the numbers. In addition to the numbers, there are some hearts and stars. The dies coordinate with the bold alphabet stamp set, but you can also use them individually, and I will be using them on one of the cards later on in this video. Next up, we have a new item that is perfect for helping you organize some small things in your craft room. This is the Mini Snap and Store Cube Bin, and it includes 16 little bins that all go in the large organizer. Now the bins are not attached inside the organizer, so if you do tilt it, they will fall out. Now inside one of the bins, it does include some small oval labels. And if you look at the colorful little end piece, that's where that oval will fit. So you can easily label everything. The bins are super cute. They're about 2 inches by 2.5 inches on the bottom and about 1 3/4 of an inch deep. And you can store all kinds of small things inside. Washi tape works really well. I put some of Scrapbook.com's mint tape rolls inside. You could put bling, small acrylic blocks. I pulled out some wax beads. You can store all your wax beads inside. So many different options. And when you pop the lid on top, each of the sides lock in place so they won't spill. Another thing I thought would be perfect stored inside the bins are pre-cut sentiments. I use a lot of sentiment packs from Paper Rose, and I'll spend some time cutting them all apart, and I could just pop them in one of the bins. When I need a hello or thank you, just grab the bin and pull out a sentiment. I know there are so many other options of what could be stored in the small bins. And it doesn't need to be just for paper crafting. You could use it for other crafts, jewelry making, household items, so many different options. The next 2 items are not available yet, but they are coming very soon. There are 2 new marker carrying cases with a handle. There's the small on the right and the large on the left. Both cases have the little lock clasp on the front, so it'll hold that handle down. The small holds about 12 markers. I'm adding some glitter brush markers from Scrapbook.com. This little container is so cute. The larger size includes the little grid divider at the bottom, so it'll space out those markers perfectly. And with the grid divider in place, it'll hold 24 markers. And you can remove that grid if you don't want it in there. I'll pull out the glitter brush markers, add them in the large marker case so you can see how perfectly they fit. If you do a lot of crafting on the go, or you just need to bring a few markers with you, the new carrying cases are perfect. I try to stay very organized in my craft room. That doesn't always happen, but it does help when we have super cute organizing products. I also put some of the luster brush markers and one of Scrapbook.com's black pens in the large marker case. When my teenage daughter saw the order of colors the mini snap and store cube bins came in, so this is how they come when you receive them. It was bothering her so much. She said it had to be in rainbow order. And of course, pink goes first, so I'm putting them in the order she directed me to do. So we have light pink, dark pink, orange, yellow, green, blue, purple, and then white. Now, if I had to say, all of those little handles would be pink, but I can accept the other colors since it's bright and cheerful. Using some of the new products, I have 2 Halloween cards to share with you. I pulled out the Spiderwebs A2 Card Die, Mystic Boo dies, bold letters. I have A through K, L through V. Other products I'll be using are the coordinating dies for the Sweet Boo set. I'm just using the die that goes around the word boo. The stamp set Boo and the Boo sentiment on the Mystic Boo are exactly the same size, so you can use the coordinating die for either the stamp or the sentiment die. And then I also have the Spiderwebs shape die and the Pumpkin House die sets. I will be using some of the watercolor paper, and you can see here I've already cut into many of the different colors. I grabbed the A2 size, but you could use the 6x8 as well. I'll also be using some of the classic glossy cardstock, the black. It adds that perfect amount of shine to your card or project. I've already gone ahead and die cut out the Spiderweb A2 die cut piece. I used some of the purple watercolor, and I pulled out another sheet of the same purple. I'll use that behind the Spiderweb die cut piece. To adhere the two together, I'll flip it over, place it on my cut down version of Project GripMate, and I'll add glue all over the back, focusing on the larger areas and of course that outside frame. I'm using Scrapbook.com's Artiste glue, and I have the ultra fine metal tip on my bottle. Very carefully I'll put glue on the back. I'm really focusing on those longer, wider areas of the web, adding some small drops in the other areas. Once I have good coverage, I'll add that background piece face down. I found it a little easier to line up versus picking up the Spiderweb die cut piece and placing it on top of the background. And I will place a large acrylic block on top, let that sit for a few minutes, and now I know it'll all be adhered nicely together. Now I'll add my card front onto a card base, and I already have my card base scored and folded. It's A2 size, and I like to have the fold at the top of my card, whether it's vertical or horizontal. For adhesive, I'm using Scrapbook.com's Deluxe Adhesive Roller. This is super sticky adhesive. And I was trying to decide if there's an up or down for this spider web. Doesn't really matter. I'm putting the larger spider web in the upper right-hand corner. So now I'll pull out the rest of the die cuts I'll be adding on the card. I've already cut them out and I have them stored in the small stack and sort tray. All of the colored pieces are pattern paper from the Watercolor collection. Then I'm using black cardstock, some vellum, and white cardstock. And also a tiny bit of brown cardstock for the pumpkin stem. I'll be adding 2 ghost images. For the eyes, they are debossed, and this is just what happens when you die cut them out. You could use a marker and just fill in that area, or you can use the tiny little circle dies that are included. That's what I'm using, and since they are fairly small, I'll first add that small drop of Artiste glue, and I'm picking them up using the wax tip of the Craft Pro Pick tool. For one of the ghosts, they get the little blush pink cheeks. And I love that the ghosts have the little cutout arms, so you can have them hold an object. One ghost will get a pink flower. Use yellow paper for the center, one of the green for the leaves. After adding the center, I'll attach the leaves, and I'm putting just a tiny drop of glue at the end of the leaves and then placing the flower on top. I find it a little easier to get them lined up this way. Then I'll put glue on the back and add the flower on the top of the ghost head. The other ghost will be holding a pumpkin, and that pumpkin image is from the Pumpkin House die set. As I mentioned earlier, the arms are cut out so you can have the ghost hold an object. I used my tweezers to make sure those arms were separated enough so I could easily slip the pumpkin underneath. So now it looks like the ghost is holding it. And then I'll add the tiny little stem on top. So there's the second ghost. Now I'll finish up the little spider. All the spider needs are the eyes, and they are super tiny. I cut them out using the green watercolor. So I'll first add those small drops of Artiste glue and pick up those teeny tiny pieces with the wax tip end. And the final thing to attach is the sentiment onto that shadow outline piece. So I use the black glossy cardstock for the sentiment boo and vellum for the shadow piece. I want to make sure not to have any of that glue showing through on the vellum. So very carefully I'm putting glue on the back of the sentiment. And since I am using 2 specialty cardstock papers, I'll place that acrylic block on top and let it sit for a little bit to dry completely. So there are all the die cut pieces, 3 images and a sentiment. Just need to add them on the background. I wasn't sure how I wanted placement of anything but the spider at this point. I'm putting this spider in the center of the large web in the upper right-hand corner. Thought about putting the sentiment underneath the spider and then the two ghosts underneath. But after moving them all around, decided to put the sentiment at the bottom center and then the two ghosts above it, the girl just a little bit higher than the boy. I will be popping up the spider and the ghost using foam squares. I'm using the small foam squares from scrapbook.com in the 1mm thickness. I'll make sure to get good coverage on the back. Also add those small pieces behind the spider. And since it is a fairly small area, I did add 1 square and then half a square. And I already had some of those cut. Now before adding the die cut images and sentiment, thought it would be fun to add a little bit of splatter to the background. I'm using scrapbook.com's black luster brush marker. I'll squeeze out just a little bit of the ink on an acrylic block. Then gently tap the brush over the background, creating this fun black splatter. And I will let that dry completely. It didn't take very long since most of the splatter was fairly small. If you have larger drops, it will take a little bit longer to dry. So now it's time to add the images and the sentiment. I'll start with the spider, remove the release paper, and add that spider in the upper right-hand corner. And this is a very happy spider, not scary. Hard to see on the video since I use black cardstock, but there is an etched smile on the spider. Next, I'll add the sentiment, and I'm not popping that one up. Instead, I'll put glue on the back, and I'm being very careful to only put glue behind the boo sentiment area and not on the vellum. I'll adhere it at the bottom of the card, and I will place the acrylic block on top, let that sit for a few minutes before I move on to the ghosts. The ghosts are super easy, just need to remove the release paper and add them above the sentiment. For this card, I decided not to add any embellishments. I think the background and that black splatter are plenty. And I love how the ghost and that sentiment really pop against the purple background. So there is my finished card. I think this one is super cute. And I do have one more to share with you using the same Spiderweb A2 die. This time I selected the gray pattern paper. And I also used that same gray for the background. I've already adhered the two together and placed them on a card base. And this time the card will be horizontal. I'm using the same sentiment, boo, but this time I used the bold letter dies. I used 2 different shades of the orange watercolor pattern paper, and I also cut out the letters from some of the black glossy cardstock. I'm adhering the 2 pieces together, offsetting them slightly. So you'll be able to see just a peek of the black glossy cardstock on the left side and underneath the letters. After adhering the 3 letters together, I'm placing them upside down on my project grip mat. I'll let those sit for a few minutes to dry. Both of the ghosts will be holding a purple bat, and the bat image is from the Pumpkin House die set. It's a really fun set. You can create a cute pumpkin house and outdoor scene. The tiny little witch's hat is also from that set. So I'll add both of the bats to the ghosts. These ghosts are super happy to be holding the bats. And one of the ghosts gets to wear a witch's hat. I use black cardstock for the hat, and then the little band of the hat, I have the green watercolor paper. I've already added the eyes on the spider. So there are most of the die cut pieces I'll be adding. Later on, I decided to add one more. I will be popping up the sentiment and the images using more foam. On the back of the sentiment, I'm using the black foam. This is the 1/4 inch roll in the 1mm thickness. I'll make sure to get good coverage on the back. and I'm cutting the foam using Scrapbook.com's titanium scissors. The scissors are super strong and they're perfect for cutting sticky adhesive like foam. It's so nice having the option between black and white foam. Scrapbook.com offers their black foam in the rolls and also the narrow strips. I have just one more letter to add the foam, putting it behind the letter B, using some of those small pieces in the narrow areas. I mentioned earlier I use 2 different shades of the orange. I use the darker orange for the B and one of the O's, the lighter orange for the other O, and I'll add that O in the very center. And I'm putting the sentiment at an angle instead of straight across the card. I'll first place the 3 letters on the card to get the placement correct. I'll attach the center O down first. One of the ghosts I'll tuck inside the opening of the darker orange O. So I'll put glue on the back of the ghost, adhere it down, and I want to make sure it stays in place. So I'll flip it over, place an acrylic block on top, and I'll let that sit for a few minutes. While I wait for the glue to dry, I'll attach the letter B, remove the release paper, put it in the upper left-hand corner. The ghost with the witch's hat will go in the lower left-hand corner. Its head will be slightly over the bottom of the letter B. So in the area where it's not touching the letter B, I will need to pop it up with foam dimension. This time I grabbed the large foam squares in the 1 millimeter thickness. I will need to cut one in half to get behind the bottom area of the ghost. Then I'll remove the release paper, put Artiste glue behind the ghost's head, and adhere it in place. Now I'll add the final letter O with the other ghost. I'll remove the release paper behind the foam. And the part of the ghost that sticks off the edge of the letter, I'll also add more foam. I'm grabbing the small foam squares, making sure to get good coverage. I'll remove the release paper and add that final letter with the ghost in the lower right-hand corner. For the spider, I wasn't sure where I wanted to place it at first. Finally decided to put it in the upper right-hand corner on the web, and I will pop it up using some of the black foam. This is one of the leftover pieces from the foam roll I put behind the letters. I'll remove the release paper. You can see I'm still trying to decide where I want to place it. For a little extra detail, I'm using a white gel pen, adding highlights on all 3 of the letters and also the witch's hat. I pulled out a scrap piece of cardstock. Want to make sure the pen is flowing nicely. You never know when you're using a white gel pen. And then after seeing the finished card, decided it needed a little bit of sparkle. So I'm using the holographic mirror paper and I'm adding a bunch of small stars. And the star images are from the Pumpkin House die set. I cut out 5 stars and I'll add them all over the background. And I will change my mind multiple times of where I want to place them. But once I'm happy with the placement, I'll add that small drop of Artiste glue, and I am using the wax tip end of the Craft Pro Pick tool to adhere them down. The little bit of holographic sparkle is just what this card needed to really finish it off. Now you'd think once I have everything adhered down, that's it, the card is finished, but no. After I finished this video, I was looking at this card again and I really wasn't happy with the placement of the spider. So I did remove it and unfortunately I ripped a tiny bit of the pattern paper. I added the spider on the top of the O and then I covered up that little rip area by adding another holographic star. And you can see the final look of the card on my photographed image. So there are my 2 Halloween cards using new products from Scrapbook.com. If you are interested in any of the products I showed in this video, I do have links in the description box below. Thank you so much for watching, and I hope you have a wonderful day.